Rain had a way of drowning out the chaos of everyday life. As the sky tore open and heavy droplets thundered against rooftops, streets, and car hoods, the town of Briar Glen curled into itself, like an old cat weary of another long night. For Riley Thompson, rain wasn't a poetic backdrop or a gentle lullaby. It meant soaked laundry, longer commutes, more broken things, and one more night wondering how to stretch $10 across 3 meals. Inside a battered 2-bedroom duplex on Myrtle Lane, Riley stood in her dimly lit kitchen, trying to coax heat from a near-dead stove burner while stirring what barely passed for vegetable soup. It was mostly water, flavored with a bouillon cube and the last 2 carrots from the fridge. Beside her on the small kitchen table, her 8-year-old daughter, Maya, was coloring, humming tunelessly under her breath, oblivious to the storm raging outside and the bigger one raging inside her mother. Riley rubbed her temples, her back aching from another 12-hour shift at the diner. She still wore the uniform, white sneakers now soggy, black pants clinging to her legs, and a red polo shirt stained with coffee and stress. Her boss had cut hours again, and she'd had to cover for a no-show waitress while dodging inappropriate comments from the line cook and smiling through the pain in her feet. It was always the same story: work, home, bills, exhaustion. And Maya. Her one beautiful reason to keep going. "Mommy," Maya said, peeking up with big brown eyes, "why does the rain sound angry?" Riley smiled softly, moving to sit beside her. "It's not angry, baby. It's just talking loud. Like when Aunt Clara watches basketball." Maya giggled, then grew quiet again. "Is the electricity going to go out?" "Not tonight," Riley lied. "I paid that bill." She hadn't. Not yet. Not in full. They sat in silence for a moment before Riley stood to check on the soup, ignoring the creak in her knees and the fear in her chest. She wasn't sure how many more days she could survive like this, paycheck to paycheck, hour to hour, pretending she was fine when every fiber of her being felt worn down and disposable. The knock came at exactly 8:42 p.m., sharp and sudden, like a fist against her ribs. Riley froze. She wasn't expecting anyone. No one ever came by without calling first. She glanced at Maya, who looked up nervously, and then toward the front door. The knock came again, quieter this time, almost hesitant. "Stay here," Riley whispered to her daughter, wiping her hands on a dish rag and moving toward the door. She peered through the peephole, breath caught in her throat. A man stood on the porch, drenched from head to toe, rain dripping off his hair and jacket. He held a slim leather satchel close to his chest and shifted from one foot to the other like he hadn't planned on being here but had nowhere else to go. Cautiously, Riley opened the door a few inches. The security chain rattled in place. "Can I help you?" she asked. "I'm sorry," the man said quickly. "I know this is strange. My car broke down about a mile up the road. I tried the gas station, but it's closed. My phone's dead. I don't know anyone in town. I've been walking in the rain for an hour." Riley looked him over. He wasn't slurring. He didn't smell like alcohol. His jacket, though soaked, looked expensive. His eyes were tired, not wild. Still, she was a single mom alone with her daughter. The world didn't always care about how polite someone looked. "I'm not asking to stay long," he added. "Just long enough to dry off. Maybe charge my phone. I'll be gone first thing." Riley hesitated. Then, glancing back at Maya, she felt that gnawing empathy twist in her gut. She knew too well what desperation looked like, and this didn't look like a scam. It looked like a man who was cold, lost, and one bad break away from collapsing. She unlatched the chain and opened the door. "You can come in for a little while. Just, don't try anything." The man gave a grateful smile. "Understood. Thank you." His name was Jack, or at least that's what he said. Riley watched as he took off his soaked coat and boots near the door, revealing a tailored white dress shirt clinging to his chest and dark slacks smeared with mud. She handed him a towel, faded and frayed but clean, and told him to sit on the couch. Maya crept out from the kitchen, curious. "This is my daughter, Maya," Riley said cautiously. Jack offered a small wave. "Hi, Maya. I'm Jack. Are you a hobo?" Maya asked, tilting her head. "Maya." Riley snapped, horrified. Jack laughed softly, not offended. "No, I'm not a hobo. Just a guy who had a really bad day. You can sit with Mr. Bear," Maya said, handing him her plush bear without hesitation. Jack took it gently. "Thanks. He looks like he can handle a storm." Riley sighed, shaking her head. "I'll make tea. You warm up." In the kitchen, she tried to calm her thoughts. Who was this man really? He didn't look like a mechanic or a traveler. More like a businessman. She peeked into his leather bag while he wasn't looking, just a laptop, some documents, and a phone charger. By the time the tea was ready, Jack had settled in on the couch with a blanket and Maya was showing him her drawings. "You're a good artist," Jack said sincerely. "You like drawing houses?" "I want to build one someday," Maya said. "For Mommy. A big one, with a roof that doesn't leak." Riley bit her lip and looked away. Over the next hour, conversation flowed like water through cracks. Jack asked about the town, her work, how long she'd lived here. Riley remained guarded but answered politely. She explained her job at the diner, the way bills piled up, how she used to write poetry before life demanded practicality. Jack listened, not the way people pretend to listen, but fully, with the focus of someone who found meaning in small moments. When Maya fell asleep on the couch, Riley covered her with a blanket. "You can stay on the recliner," she told Jack. "It's old, but it leans back." He didn't argue. "You've been more generous than I deserve." She nodded. "Just don't rob me in my sleep." "Scout's honor," he said, raising his hand. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the blinds, golden and soft. Riley woke to the smell of coffee and pancakes, real pancakes. She bolted out of bed, confused. Jack was in the kitchen, humming to himself. Somehow, he'd found the flour, eggs, and oil. There was barely enough for a full batch, but he'd made it work. "Morning," he said, setting a plate on the table. "Hope you don't mind. Thought I'd repay the kindness." Riley stared at him. "You didn't have to do this. People don't help each other enough," he said. "You opened your home. Least I could do." Maya appeared moments later, eyes wide at the sight of pancakes. "Are we rich now?" Jack laughed. "Only in carbs." After breakfast, Jack checked his phone. It had finally charged. He made a brief call and arranged for his car to be towed. Then he gathered his things. Before leaving, he reached into his pocket and handed Riley a card. "If you're ever looking for a different path, come see me," he said. Riley turned the card over, eyebrows knitting. "Jackson Whitaker, CEO, Northbridge Holdings." Her mouth went dry. She stared at the name, then up at the man in front of her. "You're..." "Yeah," he said gently. "I kept it quiet. Was traveling incognito before my official start on Monday. I wanted to see this town for myself, talk to people, see the real places. Then the car died, and fate brought me here. I let a CEO sleep on my recliner?" She asked, stunned. He chuckled. "Best sleep I've had in weeks." Maya tugged on his coat. "Are you going to buy Mommy a big house?" Jack crouched to her level. "No, sweetie. But I might help her build something even better." He looked back at Riley. "You've got grit." Intelligence. You listen. You care. If you want a shot at something different, come by the office. No pressure. Just an offer. And with that, he walked out, disappearing into the morning light, leaving behind the scent of pancakes, the warmth of hope, and a card that shimmered with possibility. Riley stared at it for a long time. Maybe this wasn't just another storm. Maybe, just maybe, it was the beginning of everything changing.